What happens when the least likely person turns out to be a source of wisdom and kindness? On a chilly evening in the bustling heart of the city, the streets were speckled with the last hues of sunset, casting long shadows over the sidewalks. Among those shadows, a young girl named Emily, with nothing but a tattered backpack and a weary smile, navigated her way through the crowded pathways. At just 13, Emily had seen more of life's hardships than most adults, her days spent wandering in search of shelter and safety, her nights curled up in whatever corner she could find that felt safe. Emily's path that evening led her to a public square, known for its vibrant gatherings and, more importantly to her, its occasional outreach programs providing food and warm clothing. As she approached, her eyes caught sight of a large, familiar figure surrounded by a crowd. It was John Cena, the famed wrestler and actor, known as much for his feats in the ring as for his charitable heart. He was there for a charity event, talking and laughing with the people around him. Despite her reticence, Emily felt a pull to speak to him, driven by a question that had been burning in her heart, fueled by the trials of her young life. Pushing through her hesitation, Emily approached him. When it was her turn, she looked up into his eyes, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mr. Cena, can I ask you something?" He nodded, his expression softening. "Do you believe in Jesus Christ? And if so, how can he care about someone like me?" The question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of her struggles. John's response wasn't immediate as he regarded Emily, seeing not just the dirt smudged on her face or the holes in her shoes, but the resilience in her eyes. He knelt down to her level, his voice gentle. "I do believe, Emily, and I believe he cares about you more than you might ever realize. You're not forgotten or overlooked. Sometimes the world is harsh and unfair, but it doesn't mean you are alone or unloved. People care, I care, and yes, Jesus cares." The simplicity of his words, the sincerity in his voice, brought a rush of emotions to Emily. Here was this figure larger than life, taking the moment to not only answer her question, but to acknowledge her existence and her worth. It wasn't just his words that touched her. It was the kindness of acknowledging her presence, treating her question with seriousness, and offering comfort that felt tailor-made for her troubled heart. As they talked, John learned about Emily's struggles and her journey on the streets. Moved by her story, he made a quick decision. "How about we get you some help? There are places that can give you the care and support you need. Let's not end this night without ensuring you have a safe place to go." His team, accustomed to his impromptu acts of kindness, sprung into action. The evening that started with a simple question ended with Emily being escorted to a nearby shelter, one that Cena had quietly supported for years. As she walked away, a new set of clothes in hand and a promise of a warm bed for the night, Emily looked back. John Cena waved, his smile reassuring. This encounter, a brief moment in the span of an evening, left an indelible mark on Emily. It was not just the promise of a shelter or the new clothes that warmed her. It was the realization that kindness can come from the most unexpected places, and hope, sometimes, is delivered by those who walk the path of fame, yet never forget to look around and help those in need. As the story of that night spread, it inspired not just Emily but all who heard it, reminding them that kindness is powerful and transformative. It was a story that started with a question and ended with a community coming together to support one of their own, showing that no matter where you come from or what you face, there are always people who care. Emily's first night at the shelter was a revelation. As she lay in a clean bed for the first time in months, surrounded by the quiet snores of others who, like her, had found refuge, she couldn't help but replay the evening's events in her mind. The warmth in John Cena's voice, his promise that someone cared, sparked a flicker of hope in her heart. That night, Emily dreamed of a future that wasn't defined by her struggles, but illuminated by possibilities. The next morning, Emily was introduced to the shelter's counselor, Mrs. Thompson, a gentle woman with a knack for making everyone feel like they mattered. "I heard about your encounter with Mr. Cena," Mrs. Thompson began, her eyes twinkling with kindness. "It's not every day we get a guardian angel in disguise around here, huh?" Emily nodded, a small smile breaking through her usual reserve. "He said Jesus cares about me. Do you think that's true?" she asked hesitantly. "Absolutely," Mrs. Thompson replied without missing a beat. "And not just Jesus, Emily. There are a lot of people here who care about you too, and we're going to help you every step of the way." This assurance filled Emily with a comfort she hadn't felt in a long time. Over the following weeks, she began to participate in the shelter's activities, gradually opening up about her experiences and finding camaraderie among the other residents. Each story shared, each bond formed, helped her see that her past did not have to define her future. Meanwhile, John Cena continued to check in on Emily's progress, his initial act of kindness blossoming into a commitment to her well-being. News of his involvement with Emily and the shelter brought media attention, but for John, the focus remained on making a real difference in one person's life at a time. His actions inspired others, fans and strangers alike, to support the shelter, leading to donations that helped enhance the services provided to those in need. One day, Emily was given the chance to speak at a fundraising event for the shelter. Standing at the podium, looking out at a crowd of faces, she felt a surge of nerves. But then she remembered John Cena's encouragement and the supportive smiles of Mrs. Thompson and her new friends in the shelter. "My name is Emily, and not too long ago, I didn't think anyone would ever notice me," she began, her voice steady and clear. "But then one evening changed everything. A man many of you know showed me that there is always hope, and there are always people ready to help." Her speech was heartfelt, detailing her journey and the profound impact of the shelter and its supporters. As Emily spoke, the audience was moved by her courage and her transformation. Donations poured in, ensuring that the shelter could continue to provide a haven for many others like her. Emily's story became a testament to the power of kindness and the difference one person can make in the lives of others. Months passed, and with the support of the shelter and her newfound confidence, Emily started back at school. She discovered a love for writing, a way to express her thoughts and dreams, a medium through which she could inspire others. "Maybe one day I'll write a book," she mused to Mrs. Thompson one afternoon. "And I'll be the first in line to buy it," Mrs. Thompson replied, her voice filled with belief. Emily's journey from a forgotten shadow on the streets to a young woman with dreams and a future was a story of transformation that continued to inspire everyone around her. Each step forward was a testament to the lasting impact of that one night when a wrestling star crossed paths with a homeless girl and took the time to truly see her. Emily knew now, more than ever, that her story was far from over. It was just beginning. Emily's life continued to unfold with new opportunities and challenges. As she navigated her final year of high school, her interest in writing blossomed into a passion. She became the editor of the school's newspaper, using her platform to spotlight social issues and share stories of resilience and hope similar to her own. With each article she wrote, Emily felt a sense of purpose, a drive to effect change through her words. The day of her high school graduation was a milestone filled with bittersweet emotions. As she stood at the podium to deliver her valedictory speech, she scanned the audience, seeing familiar faces from the shelter and Mrs. Thompson's proud smile. "Today marks not just the culmination of our academic pursuits, but the beginning of our journey into the world as agents of change," Emily declared, her voice resonant with conviction. "Each of us has a story, a unique path that has shaped us. Let us use those experiences to guide us in creating a more compassionate, understanding world." Her speech was met with a standing ovation, a testament to her impact and the respect she had earned. After graduation, Emily's relationship with John Cena took on a new dimension. He invited her to join his foundation, dedicated to helping disadvantaged youth. Emily eagerly accepted, seeing it as a chance to give back and help others who were struggling as she once had. Working alongside John, She learned about philanthropy and the logistics of running charitable programs. Her first-hand experiences brought authenticity and passion to the Foundation's initiatives, making her a beloved figure among the people they helped. As Emily's 20th birthday approached, she began to work on a special project, a book about her life experiences, titled From Shadows to Light. The book was a compilation of her own journey intertwined with the stories of those she'd met along the way, each chapter a testament to the power of kindness and the human spirit. John Cena wrote the foreword, praising Emily's resilience and her ability to inspire hope in others. The launch of her book was a significant event, covered by local media and attended by community leaders, activists, and those who had followed her journey. Emily felt a whirlwind of emotions as she signed copies and discussed her hopes for the book's impact. If my story can inspire even one person to reach out for help or to offer help to someone in need, then every struggle I've faced will have been worth it, she shared during an interview. Years passed, and Emily continued to grow in her role at the Foundation. She initiated several successful programs, each aimed at providing education, support, and opportunities to homeless youth. Her book became a resource in schools and shelters, a beacon of hope for many. One chilly evening, much like the one when she had met John Cena, Emily stood in the same public square where her life had changed. She watched quietly as volunteers set up for another outreach event. A young girl, no older than she once was, approached her hesitantly. "Are you Emily? The one who wrote the book?" the girl asked. Emily knelt down, her eyes meeting the girl's. "Yes, that's me. How can I help you?" she asked gently. The girl looked up at her with a hopeful expression. "I read your book. It made me believe that things could get better for me too," she said softly. Emily's heart swelled with emotion, her own eyes glistening with tears. "They can, and they will," she replied, her voice steady and reassuring. "Let's start by finding you a safe place tonight, and then we'll figure out the rest together." That night, as Emily helped another young soul find shelter, she realized that her journey had truly come full circle. From a girl lost in the shadows to a beacon of light for others, Emily had not only transformed her own life, but was now a pivotal force in transforming the lives of others. Her story was a profound reminder that every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to change a life forever. As the seasons changed and Emily continued her work, the Foundation's reach and impact grew exponentially. With each new program launched and every life touched, Emily felt a deepening sense of fulfillment and purpose. Her days were long and often challenging, filled with meetings, planning sessions, and direct engagement with the community. Yet, she never lost sight of the personal touch that had reached her years ago, the same kindness that John Cena had shown her. One particularly memorable project was a community center Emily helped to establish, designed specifically for young people in crisis. It was not just a shelter but a place of learning and growth, equipped with resources for education, career training, and mental health support. Emily was deeply involved in every step of its creation, ensuring that the center was a welcoming and safe space that fostered hope and opportunity. The center quickly became a beacon in the community. Stories of transformation emerged daily, stories of young people who had found not just refuge but a new direction in life. Emily made it a point to be present, to know the people the center served, just as Mrs. Thompson had done for her. Her genuine care and commitment shone through, making her not just a director but a mentor and friend to many. Amidst her busy schedule, Emily maintained a close relationship with John Cena, who continued to be a mentor and friend. His unwavering support and guidance were constant as she navigated the complexities of her role. John often visited the center, his presence a reminder of the humble beginnings of their shared efforts. During one visit, as they walked through the newly opened library filled with books and learning materials, John turned to Emily with a reflective expression. "You've built something incredible here, Emily. To think it all started with one conversation, one question about hope and caring." Emily smiled, her thoughts drifting back to that night. It did, didn't it? And it's a reminder that every single moment counts, that every single person can make a difference. As the Foundation's impact grew, so did Emily's public profile. She was invited to speak at conferences and participate in panels, her insights and experiences shaping broader conversations about homelessness and social change. Despite the accolades and attention, she remained grounded, her focus always on the individuals she served. One evening, after a speaking engagement, a young man approached her, holding a well-worn copy of her book. "Miss Emily, I brought this for you to sign," he said, his eyes nervous yet hopeful. "Your story. It gave me the courage to seek help when I was at my lowest. I just want to say thank you, from the bottom of my heart." Emily took the book, her hand briefly covering her heart. "Thank you for sharing that with me," she said, signing the book with a personal message. As she handed it back, she added, "Remember, your story isn't over yet. You're here, you've made it this far, and that's something to be proud of." Years passed, and the landscape of Emily's life evolved. She published another book, this one a collection of stories from the community center, each chapter a testament to the resilience and strength of the human spirit. Her work remained her passion, and the community she built her legacy. Reflecting on her journey one quiet afternoon at the center, Emily realized how far she had come, from a girl lost and alone to a woman who had found her calling in helping others find their way. Her life was a tapestry woven from moments of kindness, courage, and change, each thread a story of hope. And as she prepared for another evening event at the center, she knew that this was just the beginning, that there were many more stories to tell and many more lives to touch. Each day was an opportunity to make a difference, and for Emily, that was the most profound gift of all. In the heart of the bustling city, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the community center was alive with the sounds of preparation. Tonight was a special night, an anniversary celebration marking 10 years since the center's founding. Volunteers buzzed around, arranging chairs, setting up projectors, and laying out refreshments. Emily oversaw the preparations, her heart swelling with pride and nostalgia as she looked around at the bustling scene. As guests began to arrive, the room filled with laughter and warm greetings. People from all walks of life, many of whom had been touched by the center's work, came to celebrate the milestone. Among them were young adults who had once been lost, now thriving and eager to share their success stories, volunteers who had dedicated countless hours, and community leaders who had supported the center's mission from the start. The event kicked off with a video presentation, a montage of the center's highlights over the years. The opening day, various workshops, joyful holiday parties, and tearful graduation ceremonies. As the final clip played, showing a recent group of young people who had successfully transitioned into their new jobs, the room erupted in applause, moved by the tangible impact of the center's work. Emily took the stage, her presence commanding yet warm. 10 years ago, we started with a simple belief, that everyone deserves a chance at a better life, she began, her voice steady and full of emotion. Tonight, we celebrate not just the years gone by, but the lives that have been changed, the community that has been built, and the future that we are still creating together. Her speech was a powerful reminder of the center's journey, punctuated by personal stories of individuals who had overcome incredible odds. Each of you here tonight is a part of this story. Whether you came through our doors seeking help or walked in to offer it, you have shaped what this place is all about. As the evening continued, various individuals took the stage to share their testimonials, each narrative adding layers to the rich tapestry of the center's history. A young woman spoke of finding refuge and purpose. A middle-aged man recounted his transition from despair to stability, and a volunteer shared her transformative experience of making a difference in others' lives. The highlight of the evening was the announcement of a new initiative, a scholarship fund created in honor of the center's anniversary, aimed at supporting young people in their educational pursuits. "We believe in the power of education to change lives," Emily announced, her eyes sparkling with excitement. This fund will ensure that more young people have the opportunity to pursue their dreams, just like many of us here had. The celebration wrapped up with a standing ovation for Emily, who had steered the center through a decade of growth and change. As the crowd dispersed, many lingered, reluctant to leave the warmth and camaraderie of the event. After the guests had gone, Emily stood in the now quiet room, reflecting on the evening. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that the center was more than just a building or a program. It was a community, a family that had grown and thrived because of shared efforts and shared hopes. Walking through the emptying halls, Emily felt a connection to each person who had walked through these doors, each story that had unfolded within these walls. She knew that the work was far from done. There were still many challenges to face and many more lives to touch. But tonight, she allowed herself to simply feel grateful for the journey, for the community that had rallied around a shared vision of hope and transformation, and for the future that lay bright before them. As the last lights were turned off and the doors locked, Emily stepped out into the cool night air, her spirit renewed. The stars above seemed to twinkle with promise, a silent affirmation of the light that one person can bring into the world. With a smile, Emily walked away from the center, ready for whatever challenges and triumphs the next day would bring. Her story, like those of many she had helped, was a testament to the enduring power of hope and the unbreakable strength of the human spirit.